So the lit review seems like a fairly straightforward enterprise until you actually start to do one. By thinking about your literature review as doing work for your paper, you're able to focus what it is you actually need to do when you write your literature review so that you don't have to go out and spend the next year and a half reading everything under the sun that is partly related to what you want to research. So basically you have two questions that you need to answer in order to get your lit review done. The first being, what have people concluded about your research question? And if no one said anything about your research question, then you want to say, what have people said about related research questions? And second, you want to ask, how have these people come to these conclusions? By asking these two questions, you give yourself three possible interventions and justifications for your own research. When you ask, what have people concluded about your research question or related research questions? This is going to help you sort of map out the conversations and conclusions that people have come to. You're able to see, well, where have there been oversights and gaps? And this is a substantive concern. You might be interested, for instance, in topics of poverty alleviation. It's a social science research question. And people have come to various conclusions, but perhaps their definition of poverty is insufficient in particular ways. So you might be able to justify a new definitional approach to poverty, and therefore you're able to justify your own research and your own intervention in those discussions. Second, when you ask, how have people come to their conclusions, you're actually asking, what data have they used and what methods have they used? So what you might be doing is replicating the same questions and the same sets of concerns, but what you might do is add new data or better data. Or what you might do is think about new methods of interrogating the same sets of questions. So people often overlook the second set of concerns, which is how have people come to their conclusions. We often only think of the literature review as what conclusions have people come to with regard to your research question. But in fact, by overlooking the data that they use and the methodologies that they use to come to their conclusions, you're missing out on opportunities to justify your research and to make a case for your research in these other ways. So, when you do your lit review, you think of two guiding questions. What conclusions have they drawn, and how have they come to these conclusions? This will help you to keep your literature review very concise and focused, which is really hard to do, because ostensibly you could review 1,000 articles in order to do a thorough lit review. By answering those two questions, you've done the work of the lit review. And good luck.